Hello, welcome back. And in today's video, we're going to talk a little bit about whether or not I crave authority and power as an INFP personality type. Now, I know that I probably don't seem the kind of guy who loves power and authority. And I think when people think of the INFP personality type, it's not really one of the first things that comes to mind. You think of them more as background types, people who live in their heads a bit more dreamy. They can be a bit shy sometimes. If they're not shy, they still seem a bit aloof and they don't seem like the kinds of people who crave power. But I think in the world of people who get a bit more into the cognitive functions of MBTI and post on Reddit and have neckbeards, I suppose, those types of people who, have higher IQ than you or I, they know that INFPs deep down, what really motivates them is power and authority. But what I really want to zero in on is actually not so much about whether or not INFPs crave power and authority, but whether or not INFPs actually crave the right of the first night. Now, this might not sound like something that a lot of people are aware of. It's something that I sometimes come across in the world of the internet, let's say. And the right of the first night is this idea that in the medieval times, there was a sort of a thing where the lord, we're not talking about an actual night here, we're talking about the right of the first night, like nighttime. And what would happen is, just say you were getting married, you're really happy, you don't have sex until marriage anyway, so it's the first time you're gonna unleash your carnal desires. And what happens is there's a knock on the door and the local lord or whatever gets the right of the first night. He gets to sleep with your wife first. It's just a thing that happens. And I'm sure it's 100% historically accurate that this always happened. And what I've noticed in the world of MBTI, and I'm obviously just talking about the C.S. Joseph community, is the main thing that they now say that INFPs represent is the right of the first night because of the authority that represents. And I'm seeing it more and more that it's actually INFPs who have put this sort of new culture, this new tradition in place. INFPs are responsible for that tradition. So I guess you can imagine, go back 1,000 years to England, because whenever we talk about 1,000 years ago, it's obviously we're going to be in England, even if I'm in Australia, even if I've got Sri Lankan heritage. Let's imagine we're in England. Fucking hell, I don't even have any English DNA. I've got Scottish, but anyway. But imagine back then, you're a good-natured ENTJ, and you've gotten married to the woman of your dreams. You've had a wonderful wedding. You've eaten well. You've had wine, because I guess you're rich, because everyone was rich 1,000 years ago. And then you're about to unleash your carnal desires. And then an INFP. So you're an ENTJ, and this INFP dweeb with probably a feather in his cap and a lute. He knocks on the door and he's like, "Excuse me, ENTJ, I believe it is the right of the first night to sleep with your wife." And then the poor ENTJ has to go into the other room, and the INFP with the little feather in his cap goes off with the ENTJ's wife and makes passionate love to her. You can hear the joy, the moaning, and the ENTJ is just tormented by this INFP doing this. And this is, I think, true. I think this is something that would have happened all the time back then. And it's probably something that happened in a way that you don't realize now. I've had this issue so many times. I remember back in 2009, I was in a club, and I remember dancing with an ENFP Yakutian girl, but I would dance with her, and she was the girlfriend of, I don't know what this guy's personality type was actually. Maybe he was also an ENFP. There was a Sri Lankan dude I knew, and I think he got an injury during soccer or something. So he was on crutches, and his girlfriend, she would always do a crazy dance because she's an ENFP and I was an INFP. So we'd always do these crazy dances. And I actually had my other INFP friend, it used to be me and my INFP friend and the ENFP, we'd always hang around together in these and have deep chats in these bars, which is just a thing we did. And now I know, looking back, it was because we had similar personality types. But I used to do the crazy dancing with the ENFP. And then the Sri Lankan boyfriend of hers was just like, he was talking about there is a tradition where the man is injured and he cannot perform sexually with his partner. And so he will get another man in his place. It's like a sort of, he's giving me the authority to do this. A very weird thing to say. I think this stuff used to wear down on me and weird me out because I'm a prude, Nothing ever happened. I just sort of, as usual, I don't reply to messages from this person or that person, and eventually you get deleted from Facebook, but it's just like, I'm not getting into this drama. But this is just sort of what it's like being an INFP. You just sort of find yourself in these situations where people, I don't want to use the word cuck, but like, people know that you've got the right of the first night. And I know not all INFPs get the right of the first night. Anyway, I guess what I'm trying to say is that you might not think that INFPs are about power. You might not think that INFPs are about the right of the first night. You might not believe that the right of the first night's a real thing. But I don't know. I reckon if you did a survey on different ENTJs, INTJs, ESTJs, they'd have some stories about wily INFPs. Isn't it in Madame Bovary? I'm pretty sure that she must be an INFP, right? And I don't know what what her husband, what his personality type was, but he was a sort of a doctor, wasn't he? I haven't read Madame Bovary in so long. But doesn't she have an affair with some arty guy who's probably another INFP? They're sly. They're really, really sly. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Do you think INFPs are all about the right of the first night and enforcing that over our population? Do you think that INFPs are obsessed with power and authority, or do you think that it's not really true? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you next time.